And Jonathan said to the young man that bare his armor, come, and let us go over unto the garrison of these uncircumcised. It may be that the Lord Yahweh will work for us, for there is no restraint to the Lord Yahweh to save by many or by few. 1 Samuel chapter 14 and verse 6. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash, and double honor to our venerable apostles and elders, bishops of Great Millstone on down. Peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson, lowering and be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, we're going to jump straight into it. All right, there's just another article and prophecy update pertaining to the MOTB. All right, and that's pretty much the last prophecy that's left that we're looking forward to before we see the Lord take this place out, okay, by way of thermonuclear destruction. And the whole world is tuning into that time period, all right, of prophecy. Okay, you've got a lot of people now even pushing for the so-called impeachment, all right, of DJT. But little did they know that this man was put in place by Yahweh, Basham, Yahushai, to bring in the things that we're seeing right now pertaining to the end time prophecies, man. All right, so DJT is not going anywhere. All right, as long as the Lord says he's the man to do the job, he's going to be the man to do the job, which is the bringing in, all right, of the end of America, Babylon the Great. Okay, now before that happens, all right, let's get right into this one right here. All right, it says, Gil Bates, Mexico, and the global push to digitize your identity. It says it always begins with a promise of convenience, a promise of safety, a promise of efficiency, a promise that this new system will make life easier, smoother, smarter, or more secure, right? And that's why the scripture says, never trust thine enemy. Okay, once you know the character traits of this devil, you don't fall for the tricks anymore. All right, you don't fall for the wiles of the devil, if you will. Okay, that's why the scriptures tell you, the Apostle Paul tells us in the book of 2 Corinthians, the 2nd chapter. Let's get that real quick. This is something that pretty much a lot of people in the churches have no idea. Let's get this real quick. 2 Corinthians 2 and verse 11 says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, so we don't fall for this devil's tricks. The Lord has opened up our eyes, our minds to see, all right, the things that is there to see, right? People call it conspiracy theories, and they call you crazy when you actually see these things before they see it, all right? Because it's a normal person's reaction, right? Imagine when somebody sees something and then they point it and then they're like, "Yo, do you see that?" And you don't see it, so because you don't see it, you think they're crazy, like, "Yo, you're just seeing things," So same thing goes with prophecies, man. Imagine telling somebody about a time period that they don't even see happening. You know what I'm saying? And then you explain it to them to a T, and you let them know everything that's going on and what's about to happen. And they just because they don't see it or it hasn't happened yet, they don't believe you. They think you're crazy. And that's been pretty much those who speak the truth for all these years. All right, starting from our apostles on down, we've been called crazy, right, for years, man. And now the same people that were calling us crazy are realizing what's going on and saying, "Yo, man, yo, this is crazy. This is what's going on." And we like, yep, try and let you know that like a decade ago. Yep. All right. So let's keep going. It says here, but history has taught us something governments and global elites rarely admit. The most dangerous system of control are almost never introduced as tools of oppression. They are introduced as tools of progress, just like democracy. Okay, just like what they're telling the people in so-called Iran, all right, that we're going to destroy your country so you can take your country back from the wicked regime that you were living peacefully under, right? These are, again, America does not get to set the tempo of who gets to rule what country, especially when it comes to foreign governments. All right, I wanted to bring out this this phrase they've been using called regime change. Okay, regime change, right? Let's see if we can pull it up real quick. And there you go. Let's see if I can read it out real quick for you. When they say regime change, because that's what we've been hearing this whole time, right? Let's see what that actually means, right? It says regime change is a coinage attributed to the neoconservative project for the new American century. So that's his own thing right there. We're Lord willing, one day we're going to go into that as well, because it's all part of exposing what people are seeing today, right? The things that you're seeing today, especially in the year, the 250th year of America's reign, so to speak. All right, it's not normal. All right, these are things that's been planned for years, and it's now just playing out. Right, so this isn't things that just happen overnight and you just stumbled upon it. Nah, everything that we're living through has been orchestrated and designed for years. All right, and they tell you these things. It's not like we're just making it up. These people are telling you that they are the ones who are orchestrating your future, your present, your past. They've been behind all this. Okay, all the wars that's happened, all the hundreds and millions of deaths. At this point, billions, if you really look at it, over the past 250 years alone, these devils have gone on a crazy killing spree, man. Right? Revelations 6:4 tells you that. Right? That they should kill one another. Since the Greeks came in, it's always been war. Alexander came in looking for war. His generals went out looking for war. All right? Scriptures tell you that they shall take peace from the earth. Okay? And what is the opposite of peace? War. They literally just named their Department of Defense, Department of War. All right, and then shortly after that, they go on a wild barrage of straight up just murder, man. And the same thing is going to be coming here, because it started off in killing those people in the boats. Remember a few months ago, they said, oh, they're trafficking drugs and shit, so we blew them up. That was the beginning. And we was telling you that they were going to be using AI. That whole AI shit, the Palantir, all that, that's what they're using, man. All right. So let's read. It says, so it's a coinage. Regime change is a coinage attributed to the neoconservative project for the new American century that makes what authors John Stauber and Sheldon Rampton call the imperial project of overthrowing a foreign government through a military invasion seem tidy, efficient, and rational. That's why they created the phrase regime change. Okay? It's a coinage attributed to neoconservative, meaning neoconservative projects for the new American century. That's all politically correct language for saying newer order. Okay? It says and it's the imperial project of overthrowing a foreign government. It's an overthrow of a foreign government through a military invasion. But they do it in a way to make it seem tidy, efficient, and rational. Okay? The phrase Stauber and Rampton observe made it possible for the George W. Bush administration to talk about invading Iraq without even thinking about the human consequences. Assassination, occupation, or the deaths of humans or thousands of innocent lives that are going to be lost. So when they say regime change, it's more of an acceptable language than to say, oh, we're just going to come in and do a coup, okay, in a foreign country. That's crazy. But again, this is the devil for you. They use double speak, man. All right, to commit all kinds of crimes and atrocities upon the face of the earth. They call evil good and good evil. All right, and they will not be justified in that. All right, they will not be justified in that, because there is a God who's the ultimate judge. All right, and you have been brought into the court. This is trial. You devils are on trial. And imagine being on trial and still committing all these grievous acts and crimes, man. You got sex crimes, and then they try to cover their sex crimes with war crimes. That's just devil for you, man. Okay? Absolutely disgusting. So continuing going back into the article, it says, that is exactly what we're watching unfold right now with the worldwide push for digital ID. All right? It says, but history has taught us something governments and global elites rarely admit. The most dangerous systems of control are almost never introduced as tools of oppression. they are introduced as tools of progress, like we said before, using the concept of democracy. All right, the people rule. But then who are the people ruling through? If you look at America's form of democracy, it's a democratic republic, meaning the people have representatives. Okay, they don't really directly impact, all right, who gets to be their leader per se. It goes through, reps. Okay, you vote. You have somebody who represents a group of people, or a state, or a town, or a county, or whatever the case may be. And then they're the ones that represent the people's so-called votes, if you will, right? So that's kind of how America works. And if you have those people in place, those reps, and if those reps are corrupted, right, just like we have today through lobbyists and so on and so forth, foreign lobbyists, AIPAC, right, then those representatives that the people will put in place to work in good faith on behalf of the people then will start working against the people because of those who are pulling the strings behind the scenes. Okay, so on the open floor, right, on the open stage, it appears that these people who are being voted in, all right, are actually carrying out the will of the people. But behind closed doors, they're actually put in place, all right, before the people even get the chance to choose them. They're already set up. All right, so whoever you choose, whether it's Kamala Harrison or DJT, you're going to arrive at the same exact point, right? Just in a different way. And that's how a democratic republic works. All right. It's not really for the people, by the people, and so on and so forth. That's just a nice little slogan that they let you have to think that you have options, you have freedoms. In the next few months, you will see just how much freedoms you really have. Okay. So continuing, it says here, what is being sold to the public as modernization is, in reality, the construction of something far more powerful and far more dangerous. A system capable of tying your identity, your finances, your communications, your health records, your employment, and eventually your access to society itself into one trackable, manageable, and forcible framework. And that is known as the system of the beast system. And in order for you to function in the beast system, you have to have the mark of the beast. You got people saying that the MOTB, the mark of the beast, is actually the jump shot, the Vanessa. You got to ask yourself, those who took the jump shot, do they have any advantage over those who didn't take it in today's society when you talk economically? Right? The very next verse in Revelation 13, all right, after 16 is 17, right? And in 17, it specifically says that, and that no man might buy or sell. That is the key. How do you know what the MOTB is? Well, it's going to be is going to have a heavy emphasis on somebody's economic ability. Okay, your ability to buy and sell. That's going to be the key. All right, everything else is going to be encompassing it, of course, but the key, in order that, like, this is the driving force, is going to be your ability to buy and sell. Okay, and you notice the market today, the social market today is tailored and designed, all right, for people to have some form of identity in order to partake in this new market, right? Everything is all about ID, prove your identity, make sure you're not a robot, and so on and so forth. All right, soon it's going to be proving your citizenship. All right, give me your papers, show me your papers, kind of thing. All right, it says call it digital identity, call it digital public infrastructure, call it modernization, but at its core, it is an architecture of control. And increasingly, some of the most influential voices in the world are no longer hiding just how expansive they want the architecture to become, right? You got people like Oracle, Larry Ellison, right? Sam Altman with OpenAI. You have Palantir with Alex Karp and the other devil, Peter Thiel, right? You have Starlink with Elon Musk. You have Neuralink with Elon Musk, all right? Just to name a few. But all these people are all tied in to the creation of the beast system that we're witnessing being put up in front of us, okay? And this is what John saw, all right? It's like Gil Bates has once again championed digital identity as a fundamental pillar for the future in a recent discussion, openly describing a framework that begins with identity, bank accounts, and payments, and then expands outward into agriculture, health records, and even climate policy. That should stop people in their tracks, but it's not. Okay? Because once identity is tied to your money and then connected to your medical history, your food systems, your land use, your energy consumption, and your compliance with state or institutional rules, you are no longer dealing with a simple ID card. In fact, you're dealing with a digital leash, right? You might as well go as far as to say a digital prison, all right? Digital shackles, if you will, okay? It says, and this is not the first time Gates or Bates has promoted such a vision. In 2022, the Bill and Melinda Bates Foundation argued that digital ID, digital payments, and interoperable data sharing should function together as the three foundational systems of what it calls digital public infrastructure. It says that may sound technical and harmless, but the implications are enormous. In plain language, it means creating a society where proving who you are digitally becomes the gateway to participating in everyday life, whether that means getting paid, receiving benefits, opening a bank account, accessing healthcare, or interacting with the government. Okay, so think of everything we do today and just think of it as you not having something to allow you to use the things that you normally use today. Just think about how much of a hassle that's going to be. That's why it's called the hour of temptation, because they'll literally put you in a situation of you being tested, right? Can you live, or how long can you live without your normal finances that you're used to using, right? How long can you go without, not having a job? How long can you go being constantly ridiculed and condemned everywhere you go because you're looked at as a second-class citizen, right? Because you don't fit in, because you come off as being defiant, you don't comply, all these different things, all right? And you best believe before the CHIP comes out, they're going to demonize everybody that doesn't take it. It's just going to be in the system built that way. Those who don't take it are automatically looked at as radicalized. They have to be found. They have to be reported. These kinds of people cannot be in the system. As a matter of fact, it's people like that as the reason why we should have everyone get to see him, so we can identify who these people are, who are always being the problem children, so to speak, so we can eliminate them. They're gonna be talking about us, the prophets of the Lord, and those who are defiant to the system. They're gonna be talking about us like how they describe the Iranians today. They're terrorists. They've been terrorizing our nation for the past 47 years. You see, they're going to be painting all kinds of pictures that don't even exist in the minds of the people. So they're justified. It's all called dehumanization tactics. Okay? That's that, the accuser of thy brethren right there for you. All right? It says here, then in 2024, Bates expanded on that same worldview, again praising systems that combine digital identity payment rails and interoperable records as a model for the future, just like you have in China. Okay? It says, and even earlier in 2018, he publicly praised India's Aadhaar system, one of the largest biometric identity programs in the world, and brushed aside privacy concerns. And hey, Mexico is already on their way towards this goal. Okay, so we're going to see when America is going to get in the race, man. All right, it says that praise now looks especially troubling, given the years of controversy surrounding Aadhaar over surveillance fears, exclusion, and data vulnerabilities. That is the deeper issue here. Digital ID never stays in its original lane. It is never just for verification. It is never just for security. It is never just for inconvenience, because it's not designed for that. That's what they tell you, but that's not what it's designed for. All right. It says once governments and institutions have a durable biometric linked identity system, the temptation, that word temptation is here. All right. The temptation to connect it to everything else becomes overwhelming. Think of banking, healthcare, employment, taxes, travel, welfare, education, telecommunications, license, public benefits, access to digital services, authentication for everyday life. That is not paranoia. That is the natural logic of the system. And perhaps no country illustrates that danger more clearly right now than Mexico. We just did this lesson yesterday, all right, about Mexico and how they're moving up with their mandatory digital ID. Okay, is that Mexico is rolling out what is known as the CURP Biometrica, a major expansion of its existing population registry. What was once, and this is all part of the registry, the whole biometric visa exit entry system. That is a registry. That is a form of, a census, right? It's a new way of doing a census. All right, registry. You must register. Oh man. It says here, where do we stop at? Right here. It says, what was once an 18-character alphanumeric identity code is being transformed into something much more invasive and much more personal. Under this new system, the government collects fingerprints, iris scans, facial photographs, and a digital signature, packaging all of that into a QR-enabled identity credential tied directly to your body. This is not simply a paper or paper ID digitized. This is your biological identity being absorbed into a state-managed system. To register, citizens must go to RENAPO and civil registry offices where staff can scan all 10 fingers, both irises, take a facial image, and record a digital signature. They must also provide a valid photo ID, a certified CURP, and an original or certified birth certificate just to complete the process. Okay? And this is exactly what Colonel Edward Mandell House discussed with Woodrow Wilson that they're going to get Americans to do. All right, that very soon they're going to have a registry system, a pledging system, okay, that they're going to use the president of the land to incorporate and bring in this new system. And that's what you see DJ Trump doing. All right. So all the way back from 1911 all the way to 2026. All right. Shit, maybe even, not even maybe, before that. All right. Because really, this whole agenda goes back to 1776 by a man named Adam Weishaupt, which I believe is Klaus Schwab coming back. Okay. And that's just my personal belief. So continuing here, it says here, the biometric data is being fed into a unified identity platform that links the National Population Registry with the National Forensic Data Bank and records held by prosecutors, intelligence agencies, and other government bodies. This thing runs deep, man. All right, it's all interconnected. That's why Larry Ellison has been pushing heavy for the grouping, right, or the bringing together of all databases. Doesn't matter what it is, just put everything together and then let AI sort it out. Okay, especially when it comes to health records, he's been pushing heavy for that. All right, genetic, what do they call it? Genetic data, I think is what it called, genome data, or something like that. Yeah. So it says here, it is an integrated state identity system with wide surveillance potential and broad institutional access. All right. So this thing is not designed for what they say it is. You know, it's to make things a lot more efficient and convenient and so on and so forth. It's to make it efficient and convenient for them. All right, not for the people. And when this thing goes from voluntary to mandatory, you know we at the end. Okay, you can refuse it, right? But then you're gonna lose your phone. You can refuse it, but then you can't get a job, right? You can refuse it. You can say no, but then you can't have access to the services, right? You're gonna be locked out of modern life, okay? And it's all designed to manage compliance. So it's designed to test you, to break you. That's why it's called the hour of temptation. Let's get that. All right. This is what the Lord said was going to happen to this world before he makes his return. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, meaning the time of great testing, Okay, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, the word try, all right, means to test. Okay, a big test, a trial. That's where you get the word trial from. Okay, it's gonna be it's a journey. All right, it's a journey. It's you're going on a long journey. That means you're traveling. That's what that means, right? You're traveling on a long journey. Hence, you get the word travail. Okay, so it's a tough journey. All right, so you get the word travail. So we're gonna be in travail. All right, as a woman in travail, and the Lord is the one who's going to deliver us from that travailing, man. Okay, going through that test, going through that trial, it's not going to be easy. All right, but we are that woman, that virgin that the Lord, all right, has preserved to deliver us, man. All right, Lord willing, we are of that number. Okay, let me see if I could if there's a little bit more on here. All right, so right here it says, will citizens remain free human beings with rights, or will they become permission users inside a digitally managed system? And well, if you own nothing and you be happy, you're gonna need permission to use everything. All right, it's called rent, right? It's called oh, you can use it for just a few hours, but you have to pay for it. That's what it is, man. All right, so it says here, continuing, where do we stop off right here? It says, that is the future being built right now, piece by piece, country by country, policy by policy, database by database. And that is what you have in Revelation 13 and 16, right? And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. That causeth is what we're in right now. All right, we've been bringing this out for years, man. You still got people out here saying all manner of shit, man. We're this close to the end. Everything. You got people who are not even in the truth, who can see things for what they are. So what's really going on here, man? Right? It says, and the public is being told that it is for their own good. But if your face becomes your password, your fingerprints become your access key, your phone becomes a state-linked identity node, your bank account becomes tethered to your digital profile, and your ability to work depends on digital verification, then freedom has not been strengthened. It has been redesigned. And in the process, it may be quietly disappearing. Okay, so you will own nothing and you'll be happy is simply not having freedom, man. And it doesn't matter how you look at it. This is exactly what it is. This is exactly what the Apostle John, all right, saw. This is the beast system. Okay, this is the beast system. All right. So let's finish it off real quick. All right, in the book of Revelation 13 and verse 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, all right, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So that's the system overhaul that we're seeing currently. And this is global. All right, they're using all these energy crisis and all these things to bring in the MOTB. So when you know these things, when you understand the end goal, the events that happens are all in sync. It doesn't seem random anymore, right? When you hear healthcare problems, and you hear economic problems, and you hear military problems, and you hear religious problems, when you hear all these things happening all at the same time, just understand that they're all interconnected. All right, and they're all bringing you to the same exact conclusion, which is the time of great testing. Okay. Verse 17 says, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And this is all part of the Lord's testing. Okay, like I said the other day, the Heavenly Father is bringing a great test upon the face of the earth. Therefore, he's not going to give anyone an option or a way out besides through Yahushua. And only the elect are going to have that way through Yahushua. Everybody else is going to fail this test. All right, you haven't kept the word of the patience of the Lord. Therefore, you will fail this test, man. Okay, and that goes for these other Israelite groups that are not calling upon Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. They're not teaching the true doctrine. They're not warning the people. They're taking the bags and teaching deceits, teaching lies. Okay, their blood is on their hands, and the wicked ass niggas that didn't repent, their blood is also on their hands. All right, so there you have it. Verse 18 says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for is the number of a man, and his number is 666. All right. And very soon, man, very soon, we count down to the months. We're going to see this devil openly come out and say, hey, It's required that every man, woman, and child take this MOTB. If not, da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. All right? And that's when you're going to see things shake up, man. Big time. All right? Big time. But it's happening, and these devils are not stopping, man. So, hey, just pay attention. Stay locked in. All right? Like our Lord Yahushua said, right? He said what? Watch as well as pray. All right? Those two things have to go hand in hand because there's a lot going on. Watch as well as pray. Anyway, I'm going to end it off there. Lord willing, you're edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rachak Wadash, the Wadi Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai. Until next time, Shalom.